Okay.
Now we got 6 people waiting on. See, this is where we've been burned. Okay, Melody's here. We've been burned.
Bro.
I was so
Bro.
worried that this would happen. It is coming to pass.
Okay, but the cool thing is that you sent it to where they're supposed to see the stream.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now they have to kind of tune in. This is okay, man. Oh,
It's crap.
so we have a straight webinar now.
Yeah, now it has become a webinar on the fly. We're gonna sell this for how much should we sell for this? $125.
We need to give people their money back.
We should no. It was free. It was gonna be a free live stream. It may yet be saved. It may yet be saved. I'm gonna send out an email right now to the people that I sent emails to. Is that Melody?
Hey. No, that's me. Did you guys not get it to work? It's not working.
It's not working.
And I'm helpless. I don't have access to any consoles. I'm just showing up.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can't do anything. And the problem is LinkedIn Live, they make it so hard to go live. You have to go all these back channels, you have to use all these third party, you have to connect with Zoom. It's a real pain. And I worked it out a couple of days ago, or so I thought, and now here we are. Showtime.
Bro.
It's bus. It's not working.
That's
but you know what's so funny? Is that the real premise of Two Brothers Talking is that it's actually just us talking. But our conversations are really good. So, whether or not it's on live stream, it's kind of like, so here's the thing. What me and Keith are really, really good at is the show must go on. Somebody could give you, MacGyver style. They give you some chewing gum and some duct tape, and we're good. So
we're gonna save this. I'm not giving.
That's what I'm saying. And so
I'm not giving up the show.
That's what I'm saying. Me neither.
I'm not giving up. I'm gonna keep trying to join,
bro. So
I'm emailing my constituents right now and telling everybody.
That's what. Okay, cool. That's what I'm
this
thinking.
This is where it is.
But the people that I sent the text message to, they're gonna go to the live stream page.
Yeah.
And they're gonna see your message.
They will see my message.
And they may come here.
Good.
Awkward moments.
hey, whatever.
But whatever. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Whatever. I'm sending an email.
Okay.
Train troubles. The show must go on.
This is dope, man. And you're gonna find out. It's cool. It's cool.
You know what
I'm saying?
Joanna and Shanna and Melanie came, so just like my last live stream, I don't care. It's nice.
I'm sorry. Okay, look, man. Let's get started.
Go ahead and start. I'm still doing back end stuff, so you can start out. This is Two Brothers Talking.
This is Two Brothers
Talking. See, that's an extra right now. This is it.
Okay, so once upon a time, at the start of COVID, me and my brother, Keith, started talking on the phone about just stuff in general, just creative stuff. Because, when we're in this situation where everybody is at home and, world's changing and masks and stuff like that, although we didn't necessarily have, world events as the center of our conversation, ours was all about, well, what do we do now? What do we do just as people, as creatives? And so at the time, he was writing his book, Serious and Limnic, and I was working on my book, Alma Mater. And so at some point, we just decided, and I guess it was subconscious of something. We just, this is my brother, right? So we were just trading ideas about getting his stuff published, getting my stuff finished, just patterns and creative things that we liked. And what we found after a while was that our conversations were so, we get different things out of our conversations, but the idea is that we grow from them every single time. And I said at some point, I said, man, if you were a fly on the wall, you'd get a lot out of just the kinds of things that we talk about. So eventually we just said, let's just invite everybody into our conversations, and it turned into a podcast because Keith is a language expert. He's good at marketing, and he's skillful in media, always had media in his blood. And I sit in the back. I got a lot of opinions, and that's pretty much my contribution. But when we put them together, we end up having some really interesting conversations. Oh, the other thing, and we said this at the end of one of the episodes, it might have been the first one. It was that we have a mojo, and if you hang around us for too long, you're going to create something, you're going to write something, you're going to finish the project. It's like magic. And so we're good luck in that respect. And yeah, man. So this is, we've actually recorded three episodes, right?
Yep, we got 3 episodes up.
Yeah, and the live stream was our way of basically making it formal, because now Keith's created, a podcast that lives out there, and we believe that what we're talking about is going to be useful for just, kind of pushing creatives through. So that's mainly the introduction. Since everybody here no, everybody here does not know us both. So I guess, Keith, you're the brains behind it. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the one trying to scramble and get this stream going. Don't mind me, I'm just scrambling over here. No. My name is Johnny. Great job at introducing the podcast, man. I'm happy to do this. I know it didn't work out with the stream. I'm cool with that. I just sent a email blast to my email list of 25 people to come to this Zoom room. So,
bro, that's 25 more people than my email list.
LinkedIn be damned. Hey, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it without them. They missed out. They missed out on 25 people potentially. Anyway,
and that's actually how we handle creativity, right? So, hey, you don't let us in, we're gonna find a side door.
Whatever. Yeah, this is fine. No, I think it does speak to us, like us dealing with this mini crisis, right? But anyway, my name is Keith Hayden. I'm the younger brother, Johnny's younger brother of Two Brothers Talkin. And I really enjoyed our conversations, and listening and cutting and editing our 3 podcast episodes. It just made me really experience everything that Ajani said. Like, we do have this kind of rapport that we've really built up. You'll hear it in, I think, in the first episode. We've really become really good friends, more than just brothers. Like, we actually share each other's pains and successes and things like that. And that's come recently with us, and it's coincided with our growth, and probably spurred by our growth as content creators, or as authors, as artists, and whatever we're doing, musicians, whatever we're doing. So my background is pretty interesting. And just recently, I can feel things actually starting to connect from what was my professional life and my hobby life, or my podcast. So my background is U.S. military, United States Air Force veteran, served on active duty for a little bit over like 8.5 years, around there. When I was I did personnel. I was a force support officer, so like personnel people. And then I crossed over to the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. I was a special agent for them. So yeah, it's about as cool as it sounds. It was awesome. I was here in Okinawa, Japan, and now I'm back in Okinawa, Japan. And I'm now out of the military. I did a bunch of stuff, but after I got out, and then now I've settled on teacher, author, podcaster. Those are my kind of 3 things that I focus most of my time on. And in my professional capacity, I do some stuff with curriculum development, with math. It's pretty boring. It's not very interesting. But it does pay some bills occasionally whenever they give me some work. I also do substitute teaching, or I'm getting on to do substitute teaching here, but you don't want to know about that stuff. My main stuff that I do is my podcast. And most recently, and Johnny have been helping me with this, to position this as a business, not just as a hobby thing. And last year during COVID, as Johnny said, you know, I was putting stuff out. I published my first podcast. It's still out there, the Tower of Battling podcast. It's a language learning just based off of my first book. But as I've gotten more experience podcasting and with media, and as Johnny said, the marketing side and all that stuff, I've really been like, this could be a business. This could be something that we could provide value with and actually make a profit eventually. So of course, it's not all about that. My heart and soul is in teaching. Whenever I start doing something, I tend to very quickly turn it around and start wanting to teach it because I just feel like, I don't know, I just like people knowing things. I like to know things. I want other people to know things too. So yeah, this podcast is the latest in my podcast portfolio, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And I really like how it opens us up to it, because it's more than my last 3 podcasts are very niche and very more focused around just my solo work. But now not only will we be able to cross over with our stuff that was already really meshing with each other, like Ajani and my work, but we'll be able to provide more value to more people. And we'll talk more about that later on, about like what we plan to do with this podcast and what it's building towards. But this is just the beginning, just you wait. So I think we've done a good job of starting out, and I want to show y'all, if y'all haven't seen the trailer, I'm going to play it for you anyway. And if you've seen it, you get to see it again. Oh, can y'all see my screen? Can I get a, okay, now it says.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, let's hit the trailer.
Yes. I'm Ajani Abdul-Khalid, and I'm the oldest brother of our clan here.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy could go on for the list of, he just named off a few of the things that he's done. I'm so proud of what he's done. Definitely been an inspiration for me. I'm Keith's younger brother. Military, Air Force, ex-Air Force.
Yeah, so my, you're trying to describe a scene, beautiful trees, and you're like, yeah, the beautiful green trees look beautiful.
Right. Don't do that. Don't do that. Can y'all hear it? So I thought we'd start this one, like, since this time, last time we were preparing everything, but we should at least do like a brief self-introduction.
Okay. Sure.
Of who we are, since we're doing this thing like a podcast / video.
Yeah, now it's a thing. We decided to actually put these up here.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
So, age before beauty, right?
Oh yeah, all right.
This is good. I like this.
We need to do it again.
We need to do this again, man.
I feel like.
What do we call it? Two brothers talking. Is that what
we're gonna be? Two Brothers Talkin? We really didn't have a title. We just thought we were gonna record it because we knew. I mean, I guess if we post this, what I'd have to say to anybody watching is that we've been having conversations like this for a year and a half, and it gets even deeper than that. Like sometimes we go over technical stuff, and music, and things like that, and it just kind of came up that, shoot, man, if you were a fly on the ball and you just needed somebody out there who was in your creative headspace to kind of fill up your noisy media environment.
Fill it up with our noise. Okay, yeah. So, yes, fill it up with our noise.
Dude, I had a kind of a Twilight Zone moment because I try not to watch myself on anything. I saw myself in the LinkedIn, and not LinkedIn, but it'll never be LinkedIn again, right?
I know, right?
in the Zoom window, and then also on the screen. It was all crazy. It was weird. So you know what? It's been a while since we caught up. You said that there's some developments and things like that going on. What's been going on?
Yeah. So, man, there's been so many. So this is y'all are basically like two brothers talking live, right? I like this. This is cool. Because this is the type of stuff we talk about. And just an aside before I, answer Johnny's question, we actually don't communicate that much in between these calls. Like, and this is very normal for us. Like, we're both very busy doing different things. And of course, I'm over here in Japan, he's over there in Georgia. So we don't really communicate that much via text or any social media or anything like that. So really these calls, when you hear the podcast episodes, you are hearing our legitimate, like, we don't know, like, it's unscripted. It's like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? And then in those moments, that's our natural flow of conversation, just to say, hey, I watched this cool movie, or hey, we just kind of go off on these kind of tangents. And we've been trying to, as we do the podcast, like, focus it a little bit, in the third episode you're here, we talk about the antagonist or different antagonists in stories, and we focus it in around a topic. We try to, but the conversation basically goes wherever, we feel like, hey, we want to reference something. And I think that's where the value is, because that's the way we think. So I know when I listen to other podcasts and I hear like, oh, I read this book, or I read this, or listen to this podcast, or watch this show, and I got this idea, that's cool to me. And maybe I want to go investigate that for my own work. So I think we do that a lot. So that's kind of the value. But all right, so answer Johnny's question, what's been going on? So there's been two interesting developments. First thing I want to bring up, because it's great while everybody's here. There's a new platform for podcast and audio in general called Verbal. It's like VUR. I'm gonna actually give y'all the link right now.
I knew it. I was like, what? It doesn't have an A, right? I mean, because
how'd you know?
They gotta be creative. Yeah, I mean, I think somebody actually formally researched that if you butcher proper spelling, then you had a company, Google and Yahoo made people think that they could use words that weren't words.
Yeah.
And now at some point, people just started, leaving out vowels, I guess, as part of it.
Yeah, man. It's like nobody can spell anymore.
VRBL, is that what it is?
Yeah, VUR.
Oh, it's got a U. Kind of like
they got a U in it.
Okay.
VURBL. I'm trying to get the link right now because they're doing this thing now where they're getting the.
I can't.
Google does this link thing where they like short every link, and they're like trying to make it pretty and stuff, but then you can't get the actual link. I'm like, why y'all doing that? Y'all just making it hard. All right, let me put it in there, Verbal. So here's the thing. It says Tower Battling, but it's actually my station. And what they're trying to do is basically, this is another one of those platform expansion type things. So they're trying to do like a YouTube model for audio. So essentially, you know how YouTube puts in ads for random videos. They're trying to do that with audio, and not just podcasts, any type of audio. So you record your stuff, you do your recordings. You could potentially have a channel on there, and then you could just throw up recordings if you wanted to. Just an idea for later. Anyway, I've been in communication with they have an ambassador program that I applied for. And I've been in communication with one of their reps over there. And so on the side, she's a stand-up comedian.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's just kind of interesting, right? Here she is in this, tech, app company or whatever, but her side hustle is stand-up comedy, right? Awesome. So I sent all the podcasts in, and including Two Brothers Talkin, even though it was just premiering. And she was like, oh, I put it under comedy. I was like, for real?
We're serious over here. What is that?
I was like, did she listen to where did she hear it? Like
comedy.
I guess in all the trailers, I put like my little quips and jokes, and ask my wife. My wife thinks I'm funny sometimes. She thinks I'm funny. Do you think I'm funny, baby?
I think
she there. Let me know in the chat. You don't have to answer.
She said,
So I was just surprised, right? I was like, I emailed her back. I said, can you put it under arts? It's not me.
No, I like it under comedy. I think it's, the idea is we don't, I don't know. I think it belongs in a comedy, but I don't know
I
why.
mean, it could be comedy, right? Because we do laugh a lot, and I throw an occasional quip in there or whatever. But
Which episode was it? The first one or the
no,
third
no,
one?
I don't know what she listened to. I don't know if she listened to, I don't know what she listened to. The trailer or one of the episodes, she just kind of previewed it and was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Maybe it made her chuckle a little bit. But I was just surprised. And I emailed her back and I said, oh, the fact that you can please put it in arts, but the fact that you thought it was funny, that it was a comedy podcast, that's a high honor coming from a comedian. Like, I'll take that.
I'll take it too, because I had no intention of being funny. I don't think you.
I'm not trying to be funny either. I don't have a notes. It doesn't say anywhere tell jokes.
Funny weird instead of funny haha, but
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
But Joanna's right. Maybe we can just be in two categories or something. But
Okay.
I'd rather it be in arts because that's the audience we're trying to go for. We're not trying to go, but I wanted to bring this up honestly, because that speaks to our experience, right? As educators, we know that you can't just, and we've talked about this on one of the podcasts, you can't just throw the book at people, especially these days. You got to give them a pound of sugar for every 3 pounds of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's a different ratio, but anyway, you got to put some sugar in there. You got to put something nice in there. Then if it's just all Goya is this really bitter root vegetable over here in Okinawa, and it's like the superfood, right? Of Okinawa here in the blue zone, and we've eaten it, and it's just always bitter. It doesn't matter how long you cook it, but it's really good for you. You can't just feed Goya every day. It don't taste good.
Okay.
Sugar Goya or whatever. But
I don't know what you're talking about. So I know.
The point, bitter gourd. There you go.
Bitter gourd.
Yeah, that's what it's called. But the point is that was pretty cool. So that platform is actually, and the main reason I looked into it is because they allow you to do snippets of podcasts, and that's what I eventually wanted to do. I didn't have time this week because I was trying to get like the basics of everything up and running. But in the future, I would like to snip down because we talk about so many different topics that it'd be great if we can snip it down. And I did that on LinkedIn. If it had worked right before, I actually did like a 1-minute clip of something that we talked about, and I put that on LinkedIn. So this allows you to make playlists around a theme of different audio segments, and it doesn't matter. You can pull from podcasts, you can pull from your own audio. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
So,
cool. Comedy.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, what's going on over there? You've been doing some yard work, right?
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about my yard work.
All right, let's talk about something else.
No. I'm kind of joking. I'm kind of not. The yard work's made me tired. I've just been going out in between school, right? Because I'm in my programming boot camp for my day job. And I just go out there and I'm trying to take all this dead wood and get rid of it, put it in bags. I got like 20 bags, like just really exciting. It isn't, but I have to go out there and right between lunch, I have 2 hours. I'm looking at the clock. I got my rake, I got my music, and that's it. And I've just been trying to sneak in the time because there's no other time to kind of make your yard look like something, look presentable. So I go straight from my day job to the yard and then to this. And there was something else that happened, like I was supposed to do last night, but really it's just been wearing me out. So it's not terribly exciting. I think what's more exciting today is that we had I had my first demo. I had my first demo for programming.
Okay.
And so we've made APIs from scratch, taking it straight from Java through a whole bunch of complicated stuff. But basically you could, in theory, if it were working, go on the web and search like my API, and it will actually return some values. You can just type something in the URL. So it's really neat. It actually, I mean, it's really hardcore, the program. And I think the interesting thing about it is that of the 16 of us in the class, I think mine was one of 5 that didn't work. And
Oh,
so when I did, and I knew that. So I told the
right,
class, and I think a lot of it, this is the benefit of being older, right? Because you know what matters.
right.
And this it really ties directly into why we have these conversations, right? So watch this.
Right.
Most of my classmates, very, very strong group. They're like in their 20s, and they're really working hard to get their APIs working. And
Right.
so we invited our teams, our actual teams that we'll be working for when this is over. And they, we're like, oh, here's the Java and here's the scripting and here's all that stuff. And look, I fired off a get, a post, a put, and all of that. And look, it works. It returns stuff. And I told my team, you're not going to see my work because I wandered off in exploration and it's broken.
Right.
But I mean, and I said, because this is the place to break it. I'm in school.
Yeah, this is the time.
And so I had this nice little like map saying, these are all the technologies that we use. And I'm looking to look at the holistic process of how we create a great team. For me, the process of like looking up stuff on Stack Overflow or Google Code, right? You could learn any language. You could just go with whatever, whatever thing, whatever advice is out there.
Right.
And that's not the challenge. The challenge is taking all of these resources, all these top-notch minds in your class, and being able to like arrange them into a championship team. And so that was what my presentation was about. It was essentially something like I'm not going to say a failure, but people liked it. It was presenting something that basically didn't work out.
Right.
So that was the main development for me today. And then, of course, I say, of course, is if you know this. So that interview for the paper is coming up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up. It hasn't happened yet, but it's scheduled for next Tuesday. And so this weekend, I'm doing 3 kinds of demo, 3 kinds of kind of more public appearances, and I try to stay hidden as much as possible. But this week I couldn't hide
under the radar.
Yeah, so that's what's been going on in my
good stuff.
Yeah, in my world.
No, I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad, and like you said about being older, you can look past you can look at the big picture instead of looking at, my thing didn't work now. Like, who cares? Like, you're not seeing what I'm seeing, young buck. So, just as an aside, that was my father-in-law that was in here,
Oh, cool.
That was here. I feel like I should have acknowledged it.
You're like, do I continue my podcast or do I whatever?
Please. No, I'm just kidding. He's a really cool guy. He's awesome. I love Mr. O, man.
That's awesome.
Thanks for inviting him. Baby.
Yeah, cool.
What I wanted to talk about next was a little bit about what we're planning on doing. And please ask questions. I know this is, just like last time, we have a few more people that we know, but it's just people we know, which is fine. But ask questions if you legit have questions about what we're doing here, because this is typically what we do.
Yeah.
I know maybe all the time it's not always like super engaging all the time, but it doesn't have to be all the time. Like that's the point. These are our conversations. This is how we talk to each other. And it's engaging to us. So maybe some other people will find it engaging too. We hope so. But
or comedy.
Or comedy, right? Yeah, we'll throw the comedy bit in there. But I wanted to talk about our future plans. What we're trying to do with this podcast, because like I said, our background is both educators. Johnny taught for how many years did you teach?
9.
9 years.
At my last place, yeah.
Yeah, you taught 9 years, and you taught various levels too. You taught mostly upper grades, and my experience is K through 12. I'm like a classic. When I say I'm a teacher, I'm a classic K through 12. That's how I was trained, right? Where we're trying to go is, and we threw this idea around a couple of weeks ago, is to create workshops or courses around different things that we talk about in Two Brothers Talkin. So we want to start with a writing cohort. And Ajani, we're still working out the details. We don't have like dates or anything like that, but we'd really like to help people who are serious about publishing a book, help them get that book out, or help them develop the idea to where they can take it somewhere to get it out. And Ajani's done that for so many people. He's done that for me. He's done that for Shanna on here, for other people as well. And he's gotten pretty good at it. And of course, I'm a writer, so I can speak to those authorship things, and Ajani can as well. He's written way more than I have. So that's kind of our initial plan, and that's just the first thing. There's definitely other ways we could go and we will go. I know as my personal project, this doesn't really involve Ajani quite yet, but I'm planning on doing a language learning thing for Two Brothers Talking, kind of spinning off. I'm over here in Japan, as you know. I do speak a good amount of Japanese. I've been learning Japanese since undergrad. I actually minored in Japanese and in college. So I think I've got over 15 years off and on studying and being exposed to Japanese language and Japanese culture. So I want to bring that to mostly the military contingent that's here on island, to be able to help them learn Japanese and other languages as well. So I've got an idea swirling around that. So how this is all going to look and how it's all going to be packaged, and we don't really know yet, but we know that's where we would like to go, is toward basically an educational piece, because that's why I put it, right? Those are the three, that's the mantra of the podcast. If you look on our podcast cover, it says create, educate, inspire. And I like that because it's simple, and you know exactly why we are doing this. And Ajay and I both are in agreement that anything we put out needs to make the world better in some way. It's not just meant to be smut entertainment or a quick, okay, let's make people laugh, or let's just pull at the heartstrings, make them cry, whatever. We can do that too. But what we really want people to do is walk away with a lesson, walk away with feeling better, or having some path forward to get better, or something to even think about, not just the stuff, a lot of stuff you see on Netflix, right? Netflix is really, they go hard sometimes with some of their content. It just be like, maybe what was that one we saw? The Uncle Roger, Paris Hilton cooking or something. It was a mess, y'all. It was just, it's like, is this what they're putting out on Netflix? Oh, it was terrible. Yeah. And I didn't understand it. But I mean, my point is, we're not doing that. We're not just trying to grab. Yeah, it was bad. She can't cook at all. Yeah, the food was bad too. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. I shouldn't even put it up, right? I should know. Like, I have a podcast and people are like, oh, what is this? Paris Hilton cooking. I don't even know what it's called, but it's not great. The point is, we're not doing that. We're not just trying to grab eyes and ears. We want to grab people who are actually want to be or are change makers. They want to make the world better. They want to get better, even if it's just for themselves. It doesn't have to be for the great wider world or even for their community. It could just be for a sense of personal achievement or accomplishment, and say, hey, I want to know more about X. Okay, we can provide that. So, of course, we're in the very beginning of this, and there's no master plan, but this is the first step to doing this. And that's the thing, we've already been doing this. Ajani has put out so many books. All of his books they're on a specific subject. He can talk to you more about that, like exactly what it's about. But I mean, this guy's over here basically coming up with a new branch of science, like really bringing like academic rigor to something that was previously, just dismissed as kind of hocus pocus and woo woo and all that stuff. And I'm trying to connect different ideas and cultures. And that's part of my personal vision statement, which is to develop change makers by connecting humanity and cultures through education, technology, and story. That is my actual written vision statement. I've written it down. It's become kind of my mantra. And anything that comes under that umbrella is something that I want to explore. It's something that I want to learn how to do better in order to better serve the people that I want to serve and to better find my audience. So that's, Ajani, you got any?
Yeah. So you're talking about connecting people. And I think I told you that I'm reading this book for the first time. I'm actually reading a book, like reading. because normally
Really?
I don't do that. Yeah, man.
He doesn't read casually. He does read a lot, but
Yeah, I read what is necessary
right.
and necessary for my job. Current book, Raising Lombardi. I told you about this, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so I'm actually reading it's like a sports book, but it's by a sports author, Ross Bernstein. He's written like 50 books. He's a bestseller, all that stuff. Normally, I'm like, whatever. I don't pick it up.
Right.
But it's on Super Bowl champions, and he just interviewed like tons and tons of Super Bowl champions. And over the course of several chapters, he's asking, what was it like? What did it take? What was the experience? The critical elements. Was there a turning point and all of that?
Right.
The biggest thing I'm getting out of this whole kind of wave of both my day job and Raising Lombardi is the importance of teams. So you talked about connecting people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking just kind of the society we live in today, right?
Yeah.
It's weird because we've got so many options and it seems like we're more connected than ever. But in other ways, we're more disconnected than ever, right?
Absolutely.
I think they're more, it's like the spider web got bigger.
Right.
But the little bug clusters are smaller.
Right.
And so we're looking for things that are so much more like our own little niche. It's so interesting reading what some of these players and coaches had to say about winning the Super Bowl. And big thing is that you have to not just have a team, but there's something about roles, complementary roles. And it's so important. And I think that's something that I've needed to learn as a creative. When you write in a vacuum. Or when I say you, but
no, definitely.
We typically produce our works in a vacuum. And so you don't have somebody around you to tell you, well, maybe that note might be something like this, or maybe that color might be something like this, or maybe that paragraph might move in this way. And a lot of it is because we're dealing with our creative babies. And so feedback is hard. Part of it is feedback, and part of it is kind of acknowledging I don't want to call them weaknesses, but I'll call them your non-niche areas.
Yeah, blind spots.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, even now, blind spots is a better term than weakness. But as I read Raising Lombardi, a blind spot is called the other 10 players on the field. Right.
No,
so it's not even a blind spot. It's just a non-niche. I'm the defensive end, and the tight ends over there, and the halfbacks over there, and their stuff isn't blind spots to me. We just have to kind of accept our role. And I'm like, man, I'm actually kind of gaining from this book, and I would recommend it. I would actually recommend Raising Lombardi, especially if you're making the transition to a more team-oriented mentality. I think that when it comes to creating things, our conversations have always been kind of about us I'm not going to say in a vacuum, but it's just, I'm working on this, you're working on that, and then we are each other's feedback. But when it comes to things like the publication process or the music making process, or if you're marketing for whom? You're marketing, to what group? It really, really helps to have other people involved in that. So my day job is at USAA. I'm a software engineer, and they are currently going through some interesting stuff. Can't go into too much detail about it, but the bottom line is that you have to kind of brace yourself for areas where you are not the best. And like, you actually have to do it. And I'm like, oh, well, it's a challenge. I guess I'm gonna go through it.
No choice.
Yeah. And it's cool because it's like somebody's giving you the sword and they're like, okay, go out and slay that dragon. You're like, whoa, I can't even slay the newt, man. The newt's giving me trouble.
Gotcha.
And they're like, no, man, go out there. And I think back to the book that I'm reading. The newt. So Joanna's like, did you just say newt? Okay, here's for anybody who ends up watching this later or whatever, let me tell you about newts. if you played role-playing games, you know that the newt is the first animal you fight. They're easy.
Some type of lizard, yeah, something like that.
Grass lizard. You know, you're going on your epic quest. You're trying to, save the world, but the first thing you end up fighting is a yard animal.
The low level enemy, right? Yep.
He has like 3 HP, but he shakes, and then you.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Lupia, man. That's a Lupia.
That is a Lupia reference, but the newt is nobody, and if you can't handle the newt, you can't handle anything. So anyway, that's the reference. But yeah, man, I'm just thinking that the team stuff is really important. Yeah. So if we didn't have a topic for today, I'd say let's talk about feedback, right?
Yeah.
And not so much how to give it or how to get it, but just like how to handle it as a creative. Yeah. I also told you one last thing before we start on that, about that book that I was reading. It's right here, Beginning Composition. Yeah. And I was also talking to Shanna about that as well. And there's certain ways that people can take feedback, I guess. Yeah. And I started learning about my stuff as well. So anyway, let's talk feedback.
Yeah, man. And that's something I think we both struggle with. And I know Joanna's probably like nodding her head. Yeah, I can't see her, but I know she probably does. That's something that I've definitely learned, like gotten better at. Just being in a relationship, being married, gotta take feedback, But it's different taking it in day-to-day stuff, and then it's different taking it in like your creative work. That's definitely different. And this is something that my military background has helped me with, because that is a big part of military culture is feedback. A couple of times a year, you may have, at least once a year, you have your annual performance report or your officer performance report or your enlisted performance report or whatever. But then you also have check-ins with, are you on track? Do you know what you're doing? If not, do you need help? That type of thing. And sometimes people pin to whip it just like anything else, but sometimes it was really helpful and you really did find out. I actually remember when I was here as a junior agent 10 years ago, I had been on the job for maybe like 6 or 7 months, and my boss calls me in for feedback, and I go in there and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm really crushing it. I'm doing well. And then I got the opposite news, like not that I was terrible, but definitely he was like, this kind of needs work. Your writing, your investigative stuff, you could kind of stand to improve in these areas. And I remember walking out of there thinking like, man, I'm screwed up. I thought that I was doing well. So I think the key to taking good feedback is really, first of all, hopefully you're getting feedback from somebody that you at least know and that you respect their opinion enough to say, okay, I can hear from you what I'm doing wrong. And I think that's a big part, because a lot of times we'll be getting feedback from people who, stuff on social media, right? You post something, oh, that sucks, thumbs down, or whatever, your YouTube video, this post is trash, whatever. You get a lot of that on social media and online. And I think it was Brene Brown, who basically said, look, something to the effect of, if you're not standing in the arena with me and trying to do the things I'm doing, then I can't hear you.
That's where I am. Yeah.
Your opinion is void, because you are not doing the things that I'm doing. You're not having the bravery. You're not daring greatly. I think that's the name of the book. Brene Brown reference. But if you're not trying to change things for the better, and if you're just one of the masses that's just complaining and throwing fruit, then you got nothing to say to me. I don't care about your feedback. But then when there's somebody else that's trying to do something, it doesn't matter if they're doing the same thing or not. I think that's the important thing. So that's my first thought on like feedback is like, hopefully you're getting it from somebody that you respect and your opinion, and they are standing shoulder to shoulder with you, if not doing their own thing. And hopefully you're in a place to where you've done some type of self-reflection to where Joanna, I'm going into Joanna's territory now with hopefully I got to do it right. Psychologist, but yeah, hopefully you know yourself to know that you should be able to anticipate what's coming, right? Like, and then you're talking about like it's your non-niche, or as I said, blind spots earlier. Like I know there's a lot of things with my music, for instance. I'm very new, relatively new in doing music, so I know there's a lot of things I could stand to improve, make it smoother, make it have a certain sound, and I know that going in. So anyone who like seriously gave me feedback about my music, that would be something I would go in knowing. So I don't know. What do you got to say about feedback?
You know, for me, I'm not saying this to be a jerk, but I don't like feedback. I don't take feedback well. I don't take criticism well, especially as a creator. I'm like extra defensive. I'm typically defensive in general when something new comes out, and it's like part of my personality. I won't show it on my face, but almost everything that is a surprise, which is not favorable, startles me in some way. And I mean, that's serious, man. Like,
no.
I mean, it's funny, but I'm not lying.
So, I got you.
The thing for
me, Joanna's nodding her head. No surprises.
Yeah. You know, like my current partner at work, guy's awesome. Guys, he's like killer. He's awesome, and he's gonna work with me on this project. And my initial reaction was that I'm not gonna say I wasn't as happy to be partnered with him. It was more like I wasn't as happy to be partnered with somebody on my level who is as competent as I am.
A rival.
And he's not a rival. That's the thing. I was just insecure. I'm like, I'm Prince. He's Michael Jackson. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I got my area, but like, he's my equal. I mean, bro, you know, Superman and Batman. I mean, so anyway, and I realized that I was like, dude, you know, you gotta just get ready to carry your weight. My thing with feedback is that, much like the Brene Brown reference, I'll take feedback from people I respect. And I mean, again, not trying to be a jerk, I don't respect a lot of people either. And the only reason I mention this is because I imagine that out there in the creative space, you have a lot of people who are like that, right? This is my music, this is my writing, this is my sculpture. And you know, I keep it here because I don't want to put it out there. And a lot of the problem is with feedback, just like language learning, right? I know that's a big component of Tower of Babbling, and you said it in there in the book. And it was one of the parts of your book that actually resonated with me most seriously. This is not an advertisement, it's just legit. We're learning a language and then we're afraid to test it out because of feedback. We're going to look stupid, right? And that's totally the thing. It stops me from finishing whatever languages I've been studying. So I'm thinking that, how does one evolve to the point of accepting feedback?
Right.
And I think you actually have to be ready. You have to be in a position to hear it. Your world has to be set up such that you actually care what other people's standards are. And if you don't, then, you know, as much advice as one could give on, oh, you need to take feedback, but why? If you're just making it for yourself, or whatever, then maybe you don't need to take feedback. It's your hobby. You just want to make it quietly, and you don't want people to whine about the quality of your stuff. And in that sense, I'd say have at it. I mean, I think that from years of just writing certain books, and books on esoteric stuff, I don't expect people to read my earlier books or anything. I can't even find my earlier books. I don't know where they're published, where they live, or anything. I don't even read them. But
some scalper charging $1,000 on Amazon for them.
Oh no, that's true.
That's what
$999 for what was it? Was it analytical essays or $6?
All you need is one sale, man. One sale, $1,000.
Of course, if it's Lulu, I may never see my money. No,
I know, right?
No, I'm putting Lulu on blast. It may just be I didn't do some stuff to log in, but anyway, the point is that I think that you do have to be ready, but there are some training wheel phases where you just need to be able to protect your stuff from any kind of criticism or whatever. The point at which feedback became more important for me, I think, is frankly when we started talking and recording our talks. Because very, very recently, right, the last month or so, and the reason is because I now have somebody to anchor my work. And I think if you're not ready for feedback, the next best thing, especially if you just want to get better, you want to work
Right.
with richer materials or whatever, then maybe just having a cheering section, somebody in your corner that you just talk to. Like, look, I don't want your feedback, but look what I sculpted today.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
you don't
for
tell
sure.
them that, but at the same time, you've got somebody to kind of be your safety net for
Yeah.
looking at your stuff, even if your stuff sucks. I mean, when
Mhm.
you're brand new, it often does.
Right.
And I think after a little bit of that, where you're kind of used to the public facing side of your work, then
Mhm.
feedback becomes a little bit more reasonable. But, you know,
Mhm.
speaking to somebody who doesn't really like it, um, now I'm to the point where I can take feedback if it's part of my day job challenge
Mhm.
or my Raising Lombardi challenge. I'm like, well, these Super Bowl people
Right.
know how
Yeah.
to
They're
share the
champions.
field selflessly.
Yeah.
And they may not even play in the Super Bowl, but they played in like one or two critical games in the season and they contributed. And that's
Right.
another thing that I see. And, you know, sometimes you just have to, you know, just have a role that's not the shining role with your
For
creative
sure.
stuff
Yeah.
or whatever. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on feedback.
No, I think that's great, man. And you said Tower of Babel wasn't an advertisement, but I sure did put it in the thing. I put it
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
comment.
yeah, yeah. The link is there. Yeah, yeah.
I'll put a
No,
link
I
to
mean
it
it's
in the
it's
description. Check
cool.
it
It's a
out.
good it's a good book, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that you mentioned the language learning, because I think I had that problem too. Actually, 10 years ago when I was here, that was one of the reasons why I never got past. I was capped at like low intermediate, mid intermediate tops in my Japanese, because I remember I came out here, and one of the big reasons I came out here is because I had studied Japanese in undergrad. So I came out here thinking, I was big stuff, right? Yeah, man, I speak Japanese, whatever. I've been on a languages things as a cadet, come to Japan. But my Japanese in reality wasn't that good. It wasn't that great. And I was afraid of getting feedback of actually like trying to use it. And I would use it in like my memorized fluency capacity, but I would never grow because I wasn't throwing stuff out there. Fast forward 10 years later, now I've been taking lessons with a kid locally on island. Shout out to the Ryoma. You the heat, man. This kid's really helping me get better in Japanese. And actually the other day, my last lesson just this week, he was like, I said, oh, my Japanese isn't that great. I'm sure you got better students. He's like, no, you're actually one of my top 5 students.
Wow.
Because
Cool.
he's like, you can understand me. And this is all in Japanese. You can understand like me speaking like normal speed, and you can talk back some. Like I can't string together like full thoughts in Japanese yet, and that's because I've been willing to take his feedback on like, oh, I didn't say that quite right. That's not very smooth. This is how we say it, that type of stuff. And in language learning, you get that quick all the time. And
You know,
a lot
and
of language learners
actually,
have a hard time with that.
that reminds me of something. I think one of the most profound comments I've read so far through chapter 1 of Raising Lombardi was by Steve Young. And I'm a 49ers fan, always been a 49ers fan. They asked
Oh, I
him
didn't know
about the
that.
job. Oh, bro. Okay. So look, they asked at the day job, what's your favorite sports team? I'm like, 49ers. Oh my God, I haven't watched football in like 3 years because I've just been so busy, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, 49ers. And the reason is subconsciously, when I was growing up, they were winning Super Bowls. And I'm from
That's right.
California.
Yeah.
So I
California.
was there for Jerry Rice and Joe Montana and Steve Young and all those
That's
people.
crazy.
And as I was kind of getting my social head on, age 8, age 9, they were winning Super Bowls and they were so awesome.
Wow.
Like, so yeah, 49ers, that's my team.
That's cool.
But the thing that Steve Young said, which was fascinating, he was so like philosophical. It was neat. He said, it's humbling to have won the Super Bowl, because you realize that not everybody gets that chance. And there's so many people who have fulfilling careers and, but they just never get to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Football is a team sport and you can be great as an individual, but sometimes, injuries, things happen and you just never get to go.
Yeah.
He said that the interesting thing though, is that after winning the championship, stuff was kind of the same for him, except the public seemed to recognize him differently. And he said, championships connect you to the fans. Like the fans kind of know you through the Super Bowls you won or something like that. And that was the gist of his story. When it comes to feedback, what I would say to those of us out there who don't like feedback is that the feedback we get connects us to the world of our potential audience.
There you go.
And so, I mean, I couldn't honestly look in the mirror and tell myself, hey, Johnny, you need to just start accepting feedback. I'm like, I'm not seeing my potential audience anywhere in my work. So why?
Right.
But if you start saying, okay, the potential audience is kind of cool, they're there, I don't have to fight for them, you know, something like that. And you start to frankly like the audience that may be listening to your stuff, or
there you go.
Then that's about the time where feedback becomes easier to take.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I like that. And I like that we touched on that. Man, now, good topic to bring up. You just pulled that out.
Yeah. Spontaneous, bro.
So this is normally how we go. We're getting close to the hour, so I want to respect y'all's time. I appreciate y'all coming out. We had 4 people, and I didn't even look on LinkedIn because I'll deal with that afterwards. I'm gonna have words with them. I don't know what I'm gonna tell them. Like, hey, it didn't work. I'm sorry. I wanted to use the platform, but it didn't work. Make a better platform. And
you know what? Yeah. So I do need to mention about stuff working selectively, though, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you just want a high hit rate, you know.
I know. Yeah.
And so it really is a matter of like quality over quantity. Sometimes the people who read your books, I say this as a niche author in astrology, right?
Right.
Do I want to sell tons and tons of books from the kind of astro client that I don't really want or like?
Right.
Because there are hocus pocus views of astrology out there.
Oh,
and I'm not trying to disrespect people, but I expressly don't write those kinds of books. Right. And so on the one hand, it'd be nice to kind of sell a bunch of books and get a bunch of money. But on the other hand, I like that the people who are interested in my books are actually interested in this particular.
The real ones.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when we start off, you start off with the people who
exactly
align, and you know, that's what we're going for then.
Yep, exactly, and that's what we want. And y'all that are here, y'all the real ones. Even though we know all of you, that's fine.
No,
I'm glad y'all stuck around and listened to us.
But also people will be listening to it. So I mean,
yeah, this is gonna be y'all gonna be episode 4. Nobody spoke up. It was bold enough.
It's gonna be in the thousands of people who see this. I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, so, I mean, y'all gonna be in this. Shout out to all y'all supported. Shanna, Joanna, appreciate you, and Mr. Ho, of course. Mr. Ho showed up. He had to leave, but thank you for coming. Exactly. Fix yourself, LinkedIn. That's my feedback to LinkedIn. I like that. Melanie says, this is what I say to LinkedIn. Listen, I was talking about feedback to my brother, and we were going to use you, but it didn't work. Fix yourself, LinkedIn. Fix yourself. But I do want to leave you with this. We are trying to build this up. I did make an email list for us, and if you liked this, like this is, and I kind of envisioned, Johnny, man, we're just like this. I kind of envisioned that we would end up basically doing an episode live. And that's exactly what happened. And this is, if you listen to the podcast, this is more or less what you're going to get, except it's just going to be me and Johnny. But if you want more of this, we got more stuff coming. And I have, let me put this in there, our page for the email list. Or if you know other people, if you're not interested, but if you know other people who might be interested in this, please send them to this page. And I guess I can share my screen and talk about this page real quick because I made this. I'm very proud of this one pager that I made. So this is our website for Two Brothers Talkin. So don't be an uninspired, starving artist. So the point is, we want to inspire people. If it's just by our own work, if it's just by people seeing us go through the process, like Ajani's talking about this Raising Lombardi book, that is a great resource. You know, I'll add that to my book list. That's something other people, maybe you might want to add that to your book list. Who knows? Maybe you got inspired by it. You want to check it out, how to be a better team player. Like you said, and this is what I put in my one pager right here. We know what it's like to create in a vacuum. to an audience of none. Like when Ajani wrote his first books, nobody was reading them. Same with my book. I mean, a handful of people have read Tower of Babbling, but I mean, when it first came out in 2019, very few people read it. I didn't really push it, but we know what it's like to just create something because you feel like you've got to create it. That's fine. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe you're just having a hard time putting pen to paper or fingertips to keys, whatever you want to call it, right? We can help with that. So what you're going to get, you go into our newsletter. Deeper dives into what we talk about in the main show. So there's definitely stuff that's going to be cut from the main show because first of all, I don't want to make it too long. Second of all, there's definitely stuff that we talk about that's like, okay, it's a little bit different. It's not really for the main show. We're going to have a separate feed for that. You're going to receive ideas and basically stuff like this. Ajani's talking about Raising Lombardi. That's a perfect candidate. You mentioned a design composition book last time in the 3rd episode. Those are the types of things. I put those in the references for you to go out and discover those things for yourself. Maybe you might find some value out of it. Maybe you're a painter and you're like, oh, I never really thought about design. You're just kind of going to go with feeling. You want to put some more structure. This is the type of things we're hoping to give people in this type of newsletter. And then, like I said, workshops, seminars, consultation hours. We don't have any of that set up yet, but like I said, that's where it's going. We want to be able to impart knowledge to people about these different things that we know, and then eventually have people basically teaching each other, because obviously we don't know everything. And there's people that can speak to being an artist, like an actual like drawing artist or an illustrator or a graphic designer or whatever. There's people that can speak to that way better than we can. I don't think I can speak to that at all. So we'll find other people to do that. And then marketing. I've been doing a lot of that lately, and it's really been helping y'all. Like, y'all don't understand, like this is not a big step up from last time. Last month, I did another one of these on YouTube, and it was smaller. This one's a little bit better, even though despite the technical difficulties, we still made it happen. And it's just going to keep growing as we find more people. And then there's other stuff we'll add too. So if you're interested in this, click on the link, put your name in there, and then you'll hear from us. I don't know when, because it's still not official yet, but yeah, check it out. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Ajani, you got anything else that you want to talk about?
Sure don't.
Anybody got any questions for us while we're here? I like this. We may have to do this, like, I don't know, at some future point. Just be like, hey, it's the Two Brothers Talking live. Come be on the show.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that.
I think that's pretty cool.
I know. So while Shanna's here, I'm gonna put her on blast a little bit, just a little bit. I know she's a secret author of an awesome book, Stolen Seasons. I'm gonna put a plug in for her stuff, and at some point, I'm gonna try to get Two Brothers Talking to feature this other author because she's a character. Shouts out to Shanna.
Yeah. And eventually, we definitely got to do that. We definitely got to bring people on, and that's the thing that's cool about this is that we're talking about creativity in general. So even if you're not started, even if you don't say you don't have a book, say you just have an idea, you have a bunch of notes, and you're like, I want to do something like this, or it doesn't have to be a book. Maybe you're like, I've been sketching, but I don't really know. Those are the type of people that we want. This isn't one of those podcasts where it's like, okay, you got to have X number of followers, or this big old website, or be making this much money. We're not really doing that. And the whole point of the podcast is not really to like amplify authors, or creators, but that's going to happen like by product, as a byproduct of us having these conversations, enjoying. And you see the way we are, like, we're not very serious, we talk about things, but it's really meant to be kind of a workshop and throw ideas. And sometimes I ask questions that Ajani doesn't know the answer to. He asks me questions I don't know the answer to, and we just talk about it, and we kind of work through it, and from that we all grow and get better. So it's kind of a mini, I don't know, brainstorming session, I guess you can call it. Yeah. It's not really, maybe nothing comes out of it. Maybe just kind of good feelings, and then, okay, we go our separate ways. But
in some way, we're just kind of like creative accountability partners.
Accountability, yeah.
And I think if you tune in, you'll find that in some way we hold you accountable as well, because we don't slow down.
Exactly. Yeah, we definitely hold each other accountable, and we're very accountable to ourselves too. Yeah. If we say we're going to work on a specific project, then we're going to try and see it through. So that's the way we work. We try not to let, like, I encourage Ajani to put, this guy's a fiction author. He's done 5 fiction books already and he ain't published them yet. And I was like, man, what are you doing? Get them things out there. Like,
they're whack. my fiction book,
you keep saying they ain't no good.
They're wiggity,
like,
man.
Look,
door stops. I wrote 5 door stops. I let
I'm
one
like,
get
it's
out
all good, man. Just put them out there.
I let one get out there before I realized it for what it was.
Yeah, no, man, and that's what it's about. Like, just encouraging you, like, and then he does the same with my music, right? Like, I've definitely had times where I'm like, I don't know, I don't have a big music background.
I am gonna put him out because screw it. One of these episodes, one of these days, we're gonna have to just talk about publishing, not just publishing books, but publishing music and everything, because that's a whole other thing, and we take for granted that we can do it easily when we want.
Exactly. It's so easy nowadays. So easy. We're past the hour. I don't want to hold y'all up. Thank you so much for giving us your evening/morning over here. Well, I guess it's just Joanna that did it. I hear Joanna's cooking breakfast right now. She's cooking. Oh, you're not? Oh, you're still there? Oh, okay. I thought I heard stuff in the kitchen. Oh, no, she's making cheese breads. Oh, my God.
She's right over there.
No, the door is closed.
That's funny.
She's the door is closed, so I can't see what she's doing. Oh, it just goes in the toaster. It's not really cooking. That's what I call cooking. Putting something in the She's like, that doesn't count as cooking. To me, that's cooking.
Cheese bread.
Yeah, there you go, Melanie. Yeah, shout out to Melanie. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being patient with us. Two Brothers Talking. I'm really excited about this podcast. I get to do it with my brother. I'm glad y'all got to be a part of this episode. And thank you, Melanie. I'm glad you got to see it firsthand. And no, thank you, Shane. I hope you got something out of it. And that's all we want. Maybe you walk away with just like, hey, had a little laugh, but hopefully you walk away with like something that we talked about. And I like that we talked about feedback this time, because that's critical. I know that's something Johnny struggled with. I've struggled with it, and I'm really actively trying to get better at it. My wife helped me every day. Have I improved, baby? Let them know. Let them know. Thank you. See?
All right.
As long as it's just a little bit of progress. That's it. That's all it takes.
Cool.
Two Brothers Talking. Look us up. Find us on social media. I'm Keith Hayden. You can find me on YouTube, Keith Hayden-author. I'm also on Twitter. I got 2 profiles. One for my authorship stuff, KH_author. The other is for my language learning stuff, KH_way2lang. You can find me there. I'm also on LinkedIn. Maybe I'll still be on LinkedIn after I settle the score with them about this live stream that didn't go to where I wanted it to go. But that's all right. We're going to let that slide. I also have a website, keithhayden.net. And I'm going to just throw it out there, even though it's not done yet, but it should be done by the time this episode goes live. Verbal.com. Look for my station, Keith Hayden Station. I'm going to be building that up, y'all, because I can get snippets and I'm going to make some fire playlists. Johnny, you got anything you want to say?
I'm Ajani Abdul Khalik. I can't be found anywhere because I don't like people.
He's a ghost.
And that's the end of that. So that may change, but for now, I'm a ghost.
He's on LinkedIn.
Look at my books. Yeah, but you can look at my books on Amazon. That's pretty much the extent of it.
We're gonna work on his web presence. But if you want to find Ajani, hit me up on one of them, and then I'll relay the message to him. I'll be a courier service for him. All right, y'all. I'm gonna cut this episode off here. Y'all free to go, but we're gonna talk some post Two Brothers Talking stuff. So y'all enjoy your weekend. It's a regular weekend. So have a great weekend. Two Brothers Talking out. Good night.
All right.
Good night, Melanie. Bye.
See y'all. Okay.
Thanks, Joanna.